A 17-year-old girl's walk home from work in Swindon turned into a terrifying ordeal earlier this year, when a man attempted to abduct her in broad daylight, only for members of the public to step in and stop the attack. The perpetrator, a Sudanese migrant who has now been sentenced to several years in prison. On the evening of March 6th, around 9 p.m, the teenage girl was walking through town after finishing her shift, when she was approached from behind. CCTV footage shows the suspect running towards her near a set of traffic lights, before grabbing her and dragging her across the road against her will. The 28-year-old man, identified as Abdulmawal Ibrahim Adam, was described in court as a predatory threat to the public. Members of the public waiting at a bus stop witnessed the attack and intervened, stopping the victim from being taken and ultimately chasing the assailant as he fled the scene. One witness chased Adam, filming him on their phone before he eventually ran away. The teenager's mother reported the incident to the police later that night, and officers quickly arrested Adam, who was charged with attempted kidnapping. He appeared in Swindon Crown Court via video link and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. During sentencing, the judge highlighted the serious risk Adam posed, especially to women, saying the public needed protection from his behaviour. Court statements detailed how the girl made clear that she was a minor and had asked the man to leave her alone, but he persisted, pushing and dragging her despite her cries. The judge described the unknown intent behind the attacker as sinister and deeply concerning, and noted that the victim and witnesses feared for her safety. At approximately 9 p.m. on March 6th, you approached a 17-year-old girl walking through Swindon town centre as she made her way home from work. You initiated a conversation with her, asking her about money, whether you could go home with her, and saying you didn't have a girlfriend. She told you she was a minor and asked you to leave her alone. You initially did, but you came back and started pestering her again. Witnesses described you as pushing and dragging her, despite her screaming loudly, with those screams being vividly captured on CCTV. People were sufficiently shocked and alarmed that they intervened. You, however, were smiling as if you had done nothing wrong. In contrast, the look on the victim's face was described as pure fear. I cannot say what your ultimate intentions were, but that unknown is what makes this so sinister and concerning. Her fear, and the fear of witnesses, range from torture to rape. In a victim personal statement, the 17-year-old girl described how the incident has changed her sense of safety in public spaces at night, saying she no longer feels confident walking alone and now understands the fear many women speak about when out after dark. I remember how I was before this happened. It was like I wasn't even aware that bad things could happen in the world, and I felt confident in myself to walk out of the house every day at any time of day or night. I remember not being afraid to be outside or to constantly think about people's intentions around me while in public. I never would have believed this had ever happened to me, and I never fully connected myself to when women say they don't feel safe to walk around at night, but I understand now. I hope you learn to be a good person. Adam's sentencing comes as part of a broader focus on serious offences involving vulnerable people. Wiltshire police officers praised the quick actions of those who intervened on the night, saying their bravery was pivotal in protecting the victim from what could have been a far worse outcome. The incident has contributed to further ongoing discussions about public safety, especially for young girls walking alone at night. Reform UK candidate Orla Minahane had some strong words on the matter during Patrick Christie's Tonight.
I mean, Sean, and we are seeing this every day, right? Every day. And there are the perpetrators are the rapists, but the perpetrators are also the government that is allowing these men in day after day. Lives being ruined. I went to the funeral on Tuesday of a girl that was murdered. And nobody is talking about what is happening. We're talking now about rapes, but there are girls being murdered by these men. And nobody is talking about it. And I cannot tell you how enraged I am, because we're talking about, should they be put in this institution? Should they be put in this? Do you know what? If I had my way, we would have corporal punishment, but that's another story for another day, because that's how disgusting these human beings are.
But they need to be treated differently. I know our system is based on a long line of decency. We are very steeped in human rights, but at some point we have to treat people differently in relation to the actions that they have carried out, and I think we are at that point now.
We are too soft. We are too soft.
There was another aspect.
Orla's concern on the subject certainly isn't isolated. An overwhelming majority of Britons are demanding urgent action over the migrant sex crimes in Britain to protect women's safety, with explosive new polling showing the nation is united in its response. The striking results were revealed in a new YouGov study commissioned by the Women's Policy Centre and shared exclusively with GB News.
This is quite a damning poll, really, isn't it? Because, and having looked into the data as we were doing last night, across the board, on almost every single political party, including the Greens, by the way, who you wouldn't expect this necessarily from, they all support deportations of violent illegal migrants, don't they?
Yes, exactly, Alex. I'm really pleased about this poll because it reflects the reality. The nation is tired of these borders being open to everyone. And we know that many men who are coming from countries where they do not respect women's rights become rapists and killers eventually, and our children, particularly our young girls and women, are in danger. So closing the borders is a matter of women's safety.
Yeah.
We want to change the dialogue around this issue because no one in our political parties so far, particularly the Labour Party, ever put women's safety at the top of their agenda. They prefer to protect the rights of men coming illegally in this country instead of protecting British women and girls. And this has to stop.
Yep.
This has to change, and the British public is very clear about that.
Yeah, they certainly are. They certainly are.
Paola, I'm not surprised, really, that people agree that men who have been convicted of these crimes should be deported. But I was surprised at how many people believe that illegal immigration in itself is a threat to women's safety. The vast, vast majority of Conservative and Reform voters, even the majority of Labour and Liberal Democrats. In fact, the only group that, on balance, didn't believe it was a danger was the Green Party. So that's a relatively small amount of people. If we are so clear now that this is such a danger to women, surely it's not enough just to deport men after they've committed a crime. What are we doing about the hundreds of thousands who are here from cultures, as you've said, that don't think that women are fully human? What are we doing about that?
Absolutely, Miriam. Well, we have to take action. This Labour government has to protect us. This is the time for action. They have to stop talking and pretending to be doing something tough because they're not doing anything. Women's rights are at stake here. And women are threatened every day. As a mother, I'm really worried for my daughter every time she goes out from the door. So we have to change the conversation around illegal migration. Illegal migration is a threat to women's safety. And that's a reality. Data are very clear. I cannot stress enough the fact that cultural norms and religion do not change once these men enter the borders. These men, they remain the same. If we look at the countries where they're coming from, as an example, Pakistan, we know that they rape a child and a woman every 2 hours. And we know that the conviction rates for these crimes is very low.